Donald Trump is falling asleep during these press conferences and then explaining how he's the one that is now in control of Venezuela. What the hell?
F-35s, F-18s, EA-18s, E-2s, B-1 bombers, and other support aircraft, as well as numerous remotely piloted drones.
On screen now, you see the first photos of Venezuelan or former Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro on board the USS Iwo Jima. Donald Trump posted these photos, then moments later took the stage in Palm Beach, Florida to describe the mission. Honestly, it was a woefully unimpressive speech where the President of the United States struggled to read. This guy can't even read as he's announcing that the United States will now have control of Venezuela for an indeterminate period of time. I said that right. The United States, including Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, and Pete Hegseth, will be running Venezuela while the regime change takes place. Take a listen.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition, and it has to be judicious.
He has already broken the core tenet that he is laying down. It has not been judicious whatsoever. Judicious would have been going through Congress, going through the proper channels, not grabbing Nicolas Maduro in the middle of the night based on an indictment that your Department of Justice whipped up. And don't get me wrong, I would never defend the Nicolas Maduro regime. He created a lot of poverty, homelessness, corruption, starvation. But the United States president should not be able to unilaterally arrest people without the approval of Congress whatsoever. Trump also gave away the game earlier on Fox News when he could not stop himself from ranting about oil. Just keep in mind, the administration has tried for months to build this narrative about drugs by striking boats, by having false flags and some sleight of hand here and there, grabbing oil tankers. But at the end of the day, Donald Trump got on Fox News after this strike and blew up that entire narrative by admitting it was about oil.
The countries that negotiate with Venezuela for that illegal oil are already starting to suffer. What do you see as the future of Venezuela's oil industry?
Well, I see that we're going to be very strongly involved in it. That's all. I mean, what can I say? We have the greatest oil companies in the world, the biggest, the greatest, and we're going to be very much involved in it. We can't do something like this, and we're prepared. You know, we were prepared to do a second wave. We were all set.
There it is right there. He gives away the game and even takes it a step further by saying that we were ready for an all-out war for this oil. He then took the stage in Palm Beach, Florida, and admitted even further that he watched an attack on sovereignty. Very poor choice of words. Take a listen.
Last night, one of the most precise attacks on sovereignty. I mean, it was an attack for justice.
What an awful choice of words. You're defending the United States, removing a dictator by saying that we attacked their sovereignty. Trump bumbled his way through this entire thing, so much so that even Marjorie Taylor Green is splitting with him. Once again, she said, "I've served on the Homeland Security Committee for the past 3 years. I am 100% for strong, safe, secure borders and stopping narco-terrorists and cartels from trafficking deadly drugs and human trafficking into America. Fentanyl is responsible for over 70% of U.S. drug overdose deaths, and fentanyl comes from Mexican cartels made with chemical precursors from China and trafficked across the U.S.-Mexico border. Mexican cartels are primarily and overwhelmingly responsible for killing Americans with deadly drugs." Marjorie's right here. She's pointing out that the source matters. You can't justify going to war with a country, repeatedly striking the land of another country without U.S. congressional approval, mind you, when this isn't even the largest source. This isn't even like the top 5 largest sources of drugs headed into the United States. Of course, every rational American should be in favor of minimizing drug flow into the United States, but this isn't that. This is exactly what Bush did, which is going to war for oil, then using some other excuse as a pretext. Marjorie Taylor Green then continues to say, Mexican cartels are primarily and overwhelmingly responsible for killing Americans with deadly drugs. If U.S. military action and regime change in Venezuela was really about saving American lives from deadly drugs, then why hasn't the Trump admin taken action against Mexican cartels? And if prosecuting narco-terrorists is a high priority, then why did President Trump pardon the former Honduran president Juan Orlando Hernandez, who was convicted and sentenced to 45 years for trafficking hundreds of tons of cocaine into the United States? Ironically, cocaine is the same drug that Venezuela primarily traffics into the U.S. Thank you, Marjorie Taylor Green. I never thought I'd say that, but this is the key point. I have said throughout all of my videos this morning, there is no chance in hell Trump actually truly cares about drug trafficking when you look at his prior actions just over the past month. The next obvious observation is that by removing Maduro, this is a clear move for control over Venezuelan oil supplies that will ensure stability for the next obvious regime change war in Iran. And of course, why is it okay for America to militarily invade, bomb, and arrest a foreign leader, but but then Russia is evil for invading Ukraine and China is bad for aggression against Taiwan? It's bad when everybody does it. And also, this is a different scale. We did an overnight regime change, which is bad, illegal, and violates international law. But in the case of Russia, or in the case of Israel, they have been bombing a smaller country for 2 to 3 years now, bombing women, children, and civilians. The scale of it is just still a little bit different. All of it is bad, though. Her broader point that the United States loses moral high ground when we do this, that is true, but I do not think we are quite as bad as Russia's aggression against Ukraine or Israel's aggression against Palestine. We're not nearly there with Venezuela. But to continue, regime change, funding foreign wars, and America's tax dollars being consistently funneled to foreign causes, foreigners both home and abroad, and foreign governments, while Americans are consistently facing increased costs of living, should have everyone enraged, especially the younger generations. Boomers and half of Gen X will cheer on neocon wars and talking points, but the other half of Gen X and the majority on down see through it and hate it. Americans' disgust with our own government's never-ending military aggression and support for foreign wars is justified because we are forced to pay for it. Donald Trump was on stage in that moment saying that he, along with Pete Hegseth and Marco Rubio, will now be running Venezuela. They have changed the Venezuelan government from Maduro to Trump and Pete Hegseth.
President, can you explain the exact mechanism by which you're going to run the country? Are you going to designate a U.S. official to coordinate?
It's all being done right now. We're designating people. We're talking to people. We're designating various people, and we're going to let you know who those people are.
That would run Venezuela.
Well, it's largely going to be, for a period of time, the people that are standing right behind me. We're going to be running it. We're going to be bringing it back. It's a dead, I talk about a dead country. A year and a half ago, we were a dead country. Now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're a country doing better than any country anywhere in the world. And it required leadership. Venezuela has a lot of bad people in there, a lot of bad people that shouldn't be leading. We're not going to take a chance at one.
Every single time Trump speaks, I lose confidence in our country. I lose confidence in our president. I lose confidence in our military's ability to fully execute things like this. Pat Ryan says Trump illegally started a war so his billionaire cronies could access Venezuela's oil. Now he's sending even more of our taxpayer dollars, plus men and women in uniform to, quote, run the country. He says, I ran for Congress to make sure we learn the lessons of Iraq. Trump is repeating them. He's repeating the exact errors. Moments later, Donald Trump began to fall asleep while his generals were explaining the situation. So let me get this straight. Donald Trump is falling asleep during these press conferences and then explaining how he's the one that is now in control of Venezuela. What the hell?
F-35s, F-18s, EA-18s, E-2s, B-1 bombers, and other support aircraft, as well as numerous remotely piloted drones. As the force began to approach Caracas, the Joint Air Component began dismantling and disabling the air defense systems in Venezuela.
Listen, Joe Biden got older throughout his term, but it never manifested like this. It never manifested in high-stakes situations ending with the president falling asleep. The way that Donald Trump speaks about the war makes me lose confidence in him, and I'm going to leave it there. Drop a like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.